What's up everybody, welcome back to another Logic Pro X tutorial. I am Clormo and today I'm going to be talking about how to prepare your session for mixing and mastering. This is just the first part on a mini series about mixing and mastering intermediate level. I already have some videos on my channel to cover the basics. You're welcome to go into my channel and look for those. I'm going to leave cards at the end of the video so you can reference those if you want. And I've also already covered this series in Spanish. So for those of you that understand Spanish, you can also jump right ahead and look at the whole series right now, as opposed to waiting for me to release the English version of the series, starting with this first part, which is again, preparing your session for mixing and mastering. I'm going to include a link in the description with the project so you can follow along and make it easier for you not to get lost, but you can do it with your own production as well. I hope that you can follow me with your own project, but let's not bore you with any more words. Let's go right into Logic Pro X, and I have a very easy beat session here. Things that to keep in mind: if you don't have vocals, the emphasis on the mastering phase is going to be less. So keep that in mind. I'm just going to be working with a beat. Let's just give it a quick listen, and I'm going to tell you as it goes what things are I have here and why this is important too. So this is already, you're going to notice this overpowers the drums, overpowers everything else. And I did that on purpose because what I want to emphasize here is that let's take this as if you finish your arrangement, your sound selection, whatever plugins your tracks brought with them, your software instruments brought with them, etc., etc. And let's say that that's all you did at this point, and you haven't started like dealing with the levels and the panning. So this would be representative of that, right? I have everything at 0. I'm clipping like crazy. And now you want to prepare your session to start that mixing. There's a few ways that you can do it. There's nothing wrong with just starting mixing at this exact phase when you finish your arrangement. There's nothing wrong with that. My recommendation though, my advice would be, you have a lot of plugins probably, like you're going to see in my case, in this example, there's a bunch of plugins already playing parts in here. If you don't have a powerful computer system, the best way would then be to bounce these tracks in place, and then you just deal with the audio without all of those extra plugins. Since anyway, you're going to start mixing it from this point onward, it doesn't matter. It's going to be the same thing. It's just that your computer is going to be freed up from those resources. So just keep that in mind. The second thing is, I didn't play the whole thing to the end because I want to save time and make this as short as possible. But what I would also give you as an advice, once you're in this phase of the arrangement and you're going to start your mixing, just take a quick step back, a few minutes, come back, listen to the whole thing again, and start thinking, all right, so like that comment I made a few minutes ago, this is overpowering everything. This is a very frequency rich sound, and it has a lot of high frequencies. So I probably want to make this talk a little bit under the mix so it doesn't overpower my drums and the other elements. Some of the elements might be too they're not as loud. Maybe at this point the drums are not as loud, and you will have to think about, okay, I need to put a little bit more emphasis on the drums, work a little bit more on the drums. That type of thing, that type of dynamic is important when you hit play. Start thinking what things are going to have a starring role, which ones won't, which portions you need to accentuate more and work more on so that everything at the end sounds better. All right. The second thing that I wanted to mention also is, notice that I'm clipping. It's a little bit higher than what I would feel comfortable with. If you, just by seeing just any type of red or any type of clipping, don't feel comfortable about it, this is the stage where we want to make sure that we have that under control, so that then at the end in the mastering phase, we don't have to start doing crazy things, try to undo things that we did and just go crazy. So I'm gonna just bring my mixer here, and I'm just gonna put a limiter here. I'm gonna keep it at the Logic plugins level only. So all we do is go to Dynamics, Adaptive Limiter, and this is my adaptive limiter. All what we're doing here is just prevent this stuff from clipping at this stage. We just want to tame it down a little bit. Make sure that you don't have any gain. This doesn't need any more gain right now. It's clipping, for Christ's sakes. And make this the ceiling anything between minus 0.1 dB to whatever you want. Don't make it too big either, right? You don't want to lose that level. And just make it minus 0.1 dB so things don't clip. And now I'm just gonna play that again. Notice here what's gonna happen. So I'm not going over that minus 0.1 dB. I have other tracks here, specifically that synth. It's clipping on its own, so obviously we'll have to work on that. And at this point, if you just want to start mixing here, again, nothing wrong with that. You're basically ready, and you can just take all your tracks, bring them down to 0, and start. You're ready for mixing. But for those of you that want to conserve resources, what you're gonna do is just bounce all these tracks in place and replace. So I'm gonna first save my project, because it's important to either save it or do a save as, so that you keep this session as it was in case something goes wrong and you have to come back. I'm gonna go to File, Bounce, and Replace all tracks. This is gonna ask me a few things. These are the settings that you want. You don't want to bypass the effect plugins that you have at this point, nor do you want to bypass or include your volume and pan automation in this case, because I don't have any. If you had any, like in your pre-mixing phase, then you want to include those, but I'm not doing that because everything is right at center. You don't want to normalize. You just keep that off. You're gonna press OK, and I didn't get a warning window because I had saved. If you haven't saved before you do this, the program's going to ask you to do that, please. And there you go. Now everything is as an audio track. If I bring my mixer, I don't have any of the plugins that I have before, but I still have the same thing that I was working with before. It's the same type of audio, the same effects, everything that I had before, but now I don't have any extra plugins to deal with. And now the computer is freed up of those resources, and I can just start playing it. For reference, I'm just gonna hit play again. Notice that my adaptive limiter is still working. This is not clipping right now because everything was routed through here. So I shouldn't have anything clipping. And now you're pretty much ready to start doing your mixing. What you're gonna do is just pick all your tracks, like I said, bring them down to 0, and now you're gonna start bringing them into the mix one by one, starting with the drums, which I like to do drums and the bass, and so on and so forth. But anyway, I'm gonna be building those blocks in the next few videos. That's all for this tutorial. I hope that you found this video useful. If you haven't done so, or you're watching me for the first time, I invite you to subscribe to my channel so I can reach more people and help them also learn about all this stuff about Logic Pro X and all the other stuff that I do in social media. You can find me Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and my webpage clormoindustries.com. In the next video, I'm just gonna be starting the actual mixing. I'm gonna give you some other pointers there that I want to emphasize, and we'll take it from there. So I wanted to leave you with a quick question. If you're a beginner or didn't really have clear some of the stuff that I showed you here, what were those things? What things you weren't aware that might be useful from this video? How have you typically mixed your stuff in the past, and what pointers you may have that you want to share right away with the community in the comment section? I just invite you to leave a comment right there, or just reach me out on all the other social platforms that I mentioned. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, people.